Hi everyone, welcome to yet another Debate 'em All. This is episode 12. Even though we're not numbering these, I'm still kind of like 3 months of this, man. Doing this for 3 months. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy, you know. Whenever I start a series like this, I usually tend to just ditch it because I kind of get fed up of doing it. But, you know, I've been really enjoying this. Just been enjoying sitting in front of the camera, talking to you guys. You guys comment, tell me how much you love the series. So thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. If you want to continue to support the series, you can drop a like. If you want to go the extra mile, you can join the channel as a member. There's a little join button below the video. It's $5 a month. You get emotes and you get a badge next to your name. It's cool stuff. If you want to join and support me, feel free. And I also have shirts on sale. Link to them are in the description. If you want to support me in other ways besides just watching the video. But if you're just watching the video, it is more than enough. And I thank you so much for doing so. Anyways, because I wanted to get more, I guess, I don't even know if I want to call them hot takes anymore. I wanted to get more opinions in the video. I've screenshotted 17. Which usually I do about 6 or 7. So this is really ambitious. But I screenshotted ones that were more simple to talk about and were more like, I can answer that in a sentence. I'm going to try and keep them vaguer. I feel like my answers get really long-winded. I mean, I'm just talking off the top of my head. It's not scripted or anything. But for this video, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try and get more of you guys in here. Just to, I don't know, I'm just trying something different this time around. Let me know if you like it or not. Hot take, but people saying swish animations suck by showing double kick and wingle are the Pokemon version of people denying climate change by saying it's cold outside. I just thought this was funny. Like, yeah, okay, the wingle and the double kick animations may not be the best, but I feel like it's such minor. I don't know. It's just nitpicking just because. Somebody in my comments, I don't actually remember if I screenshotted the comment or not, but somebody made a really good point that the only reason why people are now nitpicking the double kick animation and then the wingle is because of the lack of Pokemon. Here's something I think you can work with. People say quality over quantity, but I don't think that's the case for Pokemon. Gen 5 has commonly suffered a lot from this opinion, but I don't see Gen 6 and 7 are regarded as the ones with the best dex quality. I personally think Gen 6 and 7 do have the best dex quality, but I kind of wanted to touch on this because I made a comment saying that you could cut half of the Gen 5 Pokemon out and it, you know, it would be, that's how much you would need to do for, I guess, the quality to be good, because like half the Pokemon in Gen 5 are bad. I did decide to actually go look at the Pokedex properly, and I think a fourth to a third of the Pokemon could maybe be cut out, and I would probably be like, okay, that's fine. Those are mediocre designs. Like, for example, obviously like Watchog and Patrat, you could be like, oh, remove them. But Patter's made a really good point of like, you could remove them and replace them with Mincino, because Mincino is just a better design and it kind of just does the same thing. It's a 2-stage or a 1-stage evolution rodent. Like, it's, you know. So yeah, Gen 5 has a lot of repetition, but it's not as much as I initially thought. So I wanted to go back on that. Yeah, Gen 5 have a lot of have a lot of good designs, and I think it is possible for them to make another generation with like over 100 and have them all be quality. But you also have to remember they're trying to stay away from that big scary 1000 number. The way I see it is Pokemon is going for longevity as much as they can. They are grabbing onto anything that will make their franchise last longer. And you can't really blame them. They're a company. They want to survive for the next 10, 20 years, even longer if they can help it. When putting something on the GTS, there should be an option to only take a shiny for it, but only if the Pokemon you're depositing is also a shiny. See, this worries me a little bit because shiny Pokemon are a lot more common nowadays than ever, especially with Pokemon Home, the ability to put shiny Pokemon from Pokemon Go into Pokemon Sword and Shield. You know, Community Day shinies, they're quite easy to get. So, you know, you'll see plenty of shiny Charmanders and Squirtles and all that on the GTS requesting. I don't know, the GTS does need a bit of an overhaul. It needs a little bit more options. It needs to be a bit more, I don't know exactly what it needs, but like asking for a level 1 Giratina that's shiny while putting up a like a level 100 shiny Rayquaza that's obviously hacked. I don't know, the GTS is a mess as it is, and I don't know if adding the shiny option would be best. I really do like the GTS as a concept, but it really does need to be fleshed out a bit more. It's just really, I tried looking for a Shellos, and everybody wanted a legendary for a Shellos. How about that? Only ask for a legendary if you're willing to give a legendary in return. I think that's a fair trade. Or they could adapt the Pokemon Go way of doing it and call it a special trade. So legendaries and shinies are special trades. So if you want to ask for a special traded Pokemon, you have to also deposit a special traded Pokemon. So you won't get these people asking for Giratina for a Shellos. Maybe that would be a good way to handle it. The Pokemon anime should return to X and Y style. So now, I actually didn't watch the X and Y style anime, so this may be a bit weird to, like, I guess, for me to comment on. I mean, I've seen screenshots and I've seen, you know, clips here and there, but I never watched the whole thing. But the X and Y style anime just seems like yet another anime, and it's like considered cool because it's the closest Ash has ever came to winning or whatever. And you know, it's the most badass he's ever been, but Ash is 10 years old. I don't think he's meant to be a badass character. Like, he can have his badass moments, but I don't know. I don't think he's meant to be this super serious anime protagonist. I think he's meant to be a goofball. He's meant to be a kid, and the Sun and Moon anime fits that perfectly. The art style for it is amazing as well. I can see the I guess the appeal of I guess the X and Y style, you know, especially if the target audience is kids. You know, kids want to see other kids doing badass things. But I don't know, I just think the Sun and Moon anime is so much, it's just more fun. It's just a better anime as a whole. Maybe, I think. More Pokemon should have gender diversities. It's really cool to find out a Pokemon if it's a female by a picture alone. Like Venusaur, female, has a seed in its flower pod, or Roselia, female, has a leaf dress down to its feet, while Roselia, male, has shorter leaf. Yeah, I think we should definitely have a bit, maybe not just specific to gender. I think Pokemon should just have a bit more diversity as a whole. Because obviously we've got male, female, shiny, non-shiny, and that's kind of it. I think, for example, in the anime, there is a Marini that Ash and all, no, it's Team Rocket. Team Rocket come across this other Marini, and it's just different colored. It's the same as the different colored Butterfree. It's just a different colored Marini, and it's not shiny. It's not the shiny coloration. It's just a different colored Marini. And I think we need more Pokemon like that. Like, obviously, animals in real life, they're constantly, like, they're different shapes, sizes. You know, us as humans, we're different. We've got so much going on. I mean, I don't want to ask for too much in terms of Pokemon, but I think it would be nice if we had some, like, just different colored Pokemon, like, you know, Hippopotas and Hippowdon. How they're, you know, darker for female, lighter for male. Something like that would work as well, you know, like, I just want to see more things like that, as well as shiny Pokemon on top of it. Shiny Lock legendaries are the worst. Hopefully Pokemon Sword and Shield doesn't have it like, have it like Let's Go. I think he means hopefully Sword and Shield do it like Let's Go, because Let's Go, every legendary Pokemon was not shiny locked. You could hunt for them, and yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes receiving them from going to a game store and getting a code. And I think Pokemon and Nintendo are both, like, companies that I think listen to fans like 5 years too late. Maybe it's just because of how early they develop games, but I feel like because of how Let's Go was handled, and I guess maybe because of the big influence on shiny hunting, Pokemon have finally realized shiny hunting and shiny Pokemon in general has got a huge market to it. So I don't see them shiny locking Zacian and Zamazenta, especially if they're removing all the other legendaries. I mean, and also Sun Ultra Moon, you could hunt for all the legendaries as well, actually, I think. So yeah, maybe, could you hunt for Necrozma? I don't know. I think it just causes a confusion. Every Pokemon shiny should be available. Flat out, that's the way it should be. Not sure if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I don't really get when people aren't happy when the gen only introduces about 70 or so new Pokemon. It's nice having a mix of old new Pokemon in the region, and there's still enough newcomers to make a pretty cool team. I think the reason why people aren't happy is just because of what we touched on earlier. Gen 5 added like 150 new Pokemon, and I kind of went back on what I said. Most of them were actually solid, like 3/4 or maybe 4/5 even of the Pokemon were pretty solid designs. There's only like a few that's like, okay, Vanillish, that can go, Klinklang, that can go, Sigilif, you know, like Watchog, you know, there's a few here and there, but for the most part they're pretty solid, and I think that's probably why. It's such a weird, like Pokemon literally they added their biggest like amount of Pokemon ever, and then immediately like we're like, okay, we're just gonna add 70 from now on. Like we don't know how many is gonna be in Sword and Shield. I'm kind of guessing there's gonna be roughly 100, just to kind of make up for the, I guess, the lack of other Pokemon. Huh. People just like Pokemon, and people just want to play with new Pokemon. That's the reason why they're unhappy with it, is because they like Pokemon and they want more. That's literally it. And I don't really think that's a bad thing. Pokemon Go has been one of my favorite Pokemon games ever. It gets lots of hate, some understandable, but it's allowed me to meet so many people and make so many new friends. Community days, raid days, has been one of the most fun I've had playing Pokemon. Potato Chambers, we're just on the same wavelength. For everybody that hates Pokemon Go, I mean, to be honest, I don't think that many people hate Pokemon Go anymore. There's a few people out, you know, here and there that like speak out or whatever. But for the most part, I think people have accepted Pokemon Go as a big part of the Pokemon franchise now, and people play it still to this day, and is, you know, it's making Pokemon a lot of money. Apparently, Pokemon Go has made Pokemon 5% of its total income already within 2 years, within 3 years or whatever, while Pokemon's existed for 25 or 20 odd years plus. It's just mental. That's insane. Anyways, back on that. Yeah, Pokemon, I just wanted to kind of bring this up because I really just wanted to just say, I give Pokemon Go a chance. I know there's a lot of people that live in rural areas, and that sucks, but if there's any way for you to travel into town once or twice a week, then I definitely say it's worth playing. Because I live in a town. I don't live, I mean, it's not awful where I live, it's not rural by any sort of means, but it's not as good as a city. So if I actually want to play Pokemon Go properly, then I have to go into the city, and I do that like twice a week, and it gets me out the house, and it's I don't know, it's just a good excuse to go out and play and make new friends. I've made so many new friends because of this game. So, you know, if you're not that good at socializing, it can maybe help you with that. I don't know, just throwing out some ideas. Continue on Pokemon Go. I think it's great that Pokemon Go community has high odds for shiny Pokemon. It gets me out of the house. The Pokemon that spawn usually is rare, or doesn't spawn at all, and I hardly get enough time to have a full line anyway, although I'll admit EV Day was too much. Yeah, for sure. A lot of, I've seen actually quite a few. I mean, it was a while ago, but I saw like, I'm not gonna name names, but I mean, it's not really. I saw Reversal and Joe Merrick and a few other, you know, big guys like that being like, oh yeah, the shiny odds shouldn't be so high. It's way too easy to get a shiny. The shinies I enjoy getting are Togepi. You know, when I hatched my shiny Togepi finally, that's the one I cherish the most. And you know, that's good for you, because you literally do this you play this game for a living. Compared to somebody that hardly gets the chance to play, they'll be chuffed if they get 1 or 2 shinies on Community Day. Not everybody plays for the full 3 hours during Community Day. Some people get a 15-minute break at work, they open their phone, they get a shiny. I think the shiny odds need to be high for those guys. That's just, you know, the way I see it. This has got a few hot takes from my friend Zine here. They should actually streamline breeding if they want people to actually play competitive legit. I think this is something I've said before, and I'll say it again. I'm actually going to touch on this a little bit later on, I guess, with somebody asks me a question, but I just wanted to say I'm really confident that Sword and Shield is going to streamline breeding. There's no way, because the whole point of, well, one of the main points of Let's Go not having breeding was that, like, they were like, we don't want people to think that Pokemon is just breeding. So I'm confident Sword and Shield is going to make it easier, and that's kind of, because it's been getting easier each gen, and I think Sword and Shield might be like the the final nail, especially because Sword and Shield's main focus is competitive battling. Maybe have an original nickname tag next to the original trainer tag, so that way you can rename Daddy Chew, but it'll haunt you forever. I think that would be the best solution, to be honest. It's maybe not an ethical solution in terms of like having, you know, like in real life you wouldn't have a pet that has like its old name floating next to it. But you know, I think it would, you know, on Steam, if you once you change your nickname on Steam, that nickname that you had previously is still, you know, when you go to your profile, it's still there, so people can see who you were. I've got some cringy Steam nicknames, God. This is one that I've actually never considered before. I, for one, consider the speed stat to be less about velocity and more about reflexes or reaction time. It doesn't matter if you can move at Mach speeds if you can't react worth shit. That's why you have a low speed stat. And somebody else replied to that comment being like, that makes a lot of sense for Pokemon like Vikavolt. You know, Vikavolt's like, he looks really fast, but he's base 41 speed. The speed stat's definitely an interesting one, and I think I'm inclined to just agree with you here. I think that's a really interesting observation, and you know, because like, I mean, the anime, I guess the anime doesn't really mean much, but in terms of like the anime, you'll see like a Pokemon with like base 50 speed keeping up with Lycanroc, and Lycanroc's like base 110. It's just ridiculous, you know. And I think reaction, I don't know, I wouldn't mind if they overhauled speed stat and turned it into like, I mean, like, what can you do though? Like, what can you call it? Reaction time? Like, I mean, I think it's too late to change it to anything besides speed. But I guess, I don't know, I feel more at peace, I guess, thinking of it as a reaction time. Because I mean, that's how the anime battles go. You know, you're like Pikachu dodge, and Pikachu has to be fast enough to react and dodge, you know, before the Pokemon actually hit him. More bad Pokemon should receive buffs to make them at least somewhat competitively playable. Example, Dugong, Girafarig, Cacturne. I think, honestly, like, I think this is going to be the main... I think this is going to be the main point of Sword and Shield. Removing half the Pokemon. I think they're going to take older Pokemon, like Furret, Dugong, or whatever, and they're going to make them competitively usable. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I genuinely think that's what they're doing, and I think that's what they mean by competitive balance and all that stuff. And lastly, we have, why did you stop hacking your Pokemon? So this is probably what I'm going to title the video. I want to make it super dramatic, but to be honest, I always feel bad. I shouldn't feel bad about this. It kind of just goes back to Pokemon Go. There is people that hack in Pokemon Go. They spoof. Basically, they fake their location and they can encounter whatever, wherever. So if somebody's like, hey, go to these coordinates, there's a 100 IV Pokemon here, they can go over there and get that 100 IV Pokemon without moving, you know, their body and becoming exhausted and too tired to play, which is the whole point of Pokemon Go, is to go out inside and play. But those guys don't really affect your gameplay that much. The only way they could really affect it is if they, I guess, take out your gym. Besides that, you don't have to interact with them, I guess. And I don't know, Pokemon Go has kind of just shown me how valuable playing legitimately is. It's really weird. But in Pokemon Go, there's like IVs and all this other stuff that you have to worry about, and obtaining those Pokemon legitimately, super satisfying. And I've just enjoyed my time playing legitimately, and I played Let's Go fully legitimately. I didn't hack in that game at all. And I enjoyed myself. Whoa, would you look at that? Maybe it's because breeding wasn't there. But that's why I'm really hopeful that they are going to streamline breeding in Sword and Shield, because if they do, I'll be playing legitimately. And I'm positive they will. And I'm not gonna say if they don't, I'm gonna go back to hacking. I might just make content out of breeding or something. I don't know. And you guys can help me breed as well. You guys can trade me a egg move Pokemon. I can help you guys out, give you spare egg move Pokemon, whatever. I don't know. I've just realized how much fun Pokemon is when you're playing it legitimately, and it's kind of just what I'm going for now. I want to have fully legitimate Pokemon. I actually deleted all my hacked save files, and I've got like all my Pokemon in Pokemon Bank ready for Pokemon Home, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I think I also want to add that this doesn't mean I'm never gonna ever hack ever again. As in, I'm probably I do see myself maybe like hacking for the sake of a video, or I see myself, you know, for like content on YouTube. But when it comes to like my personal Pokemon collection, I want to separate hacked stuff from that. So this doesn't mean I will never do hackmons again, or I will never do emulated playthroughs where I use, you know, randomized Pokemon, because they're technically hacked. That's not what that means. I'm basically just separating. I'm trying to actually have a legitimate Pokemon experience and separate it away from the hacked one. Exciting times. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Debate 'Em All. Hopefully you all had a good day. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Check out my shirts and become a member if you'd like to. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next time.